Hello there everyone! Welcome to a new Let's Play with me, your host Tim. And today, we're going to start playing through Loop Hero together. There will be some prep here that you can skip by going to the comment section down below, where you will find a pinned comment from me. There'll be a timestamp in that comment. You can click on that to be jumped ahead to where we actually go ahead and begin the tutorial. In case you don't want to hear me prattle on about Loop Hero for like 5 minutes or so. We're going to talk about what Loop Hero is, how far I got in the game, and any special stuff I'll be doing during the game, like how much talking does it involve, do I walk everywhere, etc, etc. So let's go ahead and get started with that nonsense. So, Loop Hero is a... best way to describe it would be an auto-battler, roguelite. We'll be playing the Loop Hero as he goes about and fights creatures on his own. You, however, will be deciding what he decides to fight, or you at least have some participation in how, where, and what your hero will be fighting, thanks to the eventual unlocking of various cards that you put in your deck. And that deck is used to place tiles that you'll earn during the game onto the game board, which determines, again, what your hero encounters. I have beaten the game. You should know that. I beat the game after about 49 hours or so after playing it. The game is a bit grindy, which you'll see and we'll talk about as we play through the game, but it's very addicting. And the game is one of those easy to play, very hard to master type of games. The further you get in it, the more farming I feel that will be required to fully get yourself prepared for the new acts that you find yourself in. The game features 4 acts. You will fight bosses of increasing difficulty, and creatures, which will be getting tougher and tougher as you play through the game. It will require us to spend some good amount of time analyzing the type of hero that we're using, because there is, at the time of this recording, 3 character classes in the game, and they all benefit from different cards in certain ways, so we should have a lot of fun with that. We also have to manage a town, and we'll be managing different resources, and there's this whole risk versus reward aspect to the game to help us determine when we are ready to flee or not. Alright, as for any special stuff I'll be doing, I'll be playing the game with the 2x speed turned on, because although I do like walking everywhere normally in the game, in games I play, this game doesn't... the graphics are good, like they're great pixel art graphics, but there's nothing really jaw-dropping about the stuff that we'll be seeing. And we don't need to walk around the loops we'll be doing rather slowly, so we'll be doing 2x speed, and I'll be doing all the voices, I'll be reading all the lore that we discover, but when we finally unlock the ability to read about certain items we find, the very specific creatures and the bosses that we unlock, and or the different aspects of the world that we find ourselves in, I will do that in a separate video. At the end of this playlist is also where I will put those as well. That entire process will take about 2 to 3 hours, maybe even longer than that, maybe 4 or 5 hours. Those will just be me reading everything in the game, just the lore videos. And again, I'll have a separate playlist for those. So you won't have to worry about me talking about them here. Although there is a decent amount of talking in the game, most of the game does not actually feature talking. Actually, I just kind of lied. I say a decent amount of talking in the game. There is lore stuff. We're going to have to want to read all of that. I think it really adds to the mystique of the world we're going to find ourselves in. But most of the game has no talking, and so I will be talking about the decisions I'm making instead, and my thoughts about what's going on with our hero, in particular the battles that he'll be lined up against, and strategies that I have used in the past to help me beat the game. So with all that said, I'm going to go quickly check on my voice to make sure everything is coming out okay, and assuming it is, we'll be back to start a new game. So give me a few seconds, everyone. Alright everyone, things sound like they're coming out pretty well. Let's go ahead and get started with some Loop Hero. The stars in the sky are going out, one by one. But no one notices it. No one can stop it. I'm racing to the last place where there is still hope. I need to make it before it is too late. Sounds of agony will quickly fade. The world will be destroyed. Even the memory of it will be gone. And even if there is absolutely no chance of bringing it all back, there will always be someone who is willing to do the impossible. In a place without space, without time, without memories. Where am I? I can't see anything except this path. My head is killing me. I remember only a skeleton with a staff in the sky. This darkness was coming from him. Did he destroy everything around here? Just standing here won't do me any good, I guess. To change between adventure and planning modes, right-click or space. Continue your journey by changing the game mode. Hope I'll be able to find some shelter before nightfall. If such a thing as a night still even exists without a sky, of course. Pay attention to the day progress bar at the top of the screen. New enemies usually appear at the end of the day. I'll go ahead, everyone, and tell you some more stuff about this and what exactly it's telling us about once we get past the tutorial. There's going to be quite a bit of it here. A living ball of slime. Quite a nuisance. They digest anything they can. Hey, I remember this creature. Maybe I just need to freshen up my memory and everything will go back to normal. Traveling, fighting, and most other actions are done automatically. The player can't affect them directly. It's hard to fight with your bare hands. I think there's a weapon in the remains of this thing that's not fully digested. You have an inventory and an item slot. You know what to do. I think I remembered there was a grove nearby. Are these even my memories? Or do they belong to that slime? You can use cards that are left after defeating enemies to add various new objects to the map. That's what planning mode is for. Drag the card to a suitable space to remember the land. Good. Now continue your journey. Forest rat wolf. I was right. Some emotional stress, a few colorful images, and a bit of adrenaline, and everything will be forgotten like a bad dream. Or remembered as a bad... Damn. It's good no one's listening. You can get new items and cards during battle, as you've probably already noticed. Some items have unique abilities, as do most of the cards. By hovering over an item or card, you can inspect its properties. Equip a new weapon, and place a new card on the map to continue. I want to quickly disturb the tutorial, which we're actually almost done, well, we're not actually almost done with it, but we're almost done with this part of the tutorial, to say that this forest card, this is the only one you're going to get for some significant amount of time. Maybe after about another 23 hours or so, you'll earn another forest card. Great. So there was a mountain over there, and here was a forest. The world is just like new. The branches and stones in my backpack are a sure sign of that. Some of your actions will yield resources that you will need later on, but not right now. But that shouldn't stop you from looking at them right now. Items that you get during the game, resources that you get during the game are stored in your backpack. You can see all the resources that you have by clicking that backpack, and it will show you them. We'll cover this a little more once we're done with this tutorial area. This is the game, by the way, on 1x speed. We'll be playing on 2x speed. Some of your actions will yield resources that you will need later on. But not right now. But that shouldn't stop you from looking at them right now, okay? We already did that. I think it's time to get some rest. The game itself is a journey on a looped path. Only you will decide when it's time for the hero to return to the camp. Either you or the fangs and claws of your enemies, of course. You can retreat almost any time, but a special animation will let you know when it's safer to do so. Retreat to camp by pressing the below button. The thought of leaving the battlefield and going back to your cozy camp has passed through your mind. What a timely idea. The camp is just around the corner. Retreat and keep all our resources. It's cold and dark here. A small fire can solve both of these problems. This is when all the resources you gathered will come in handy. Who would have thought? You have just enough wood and stone to make a campfire. What a nice coincidence. Build a campfire using the building function while in camp. Congratulations! You've beaten this annoying tutorial. Now you can start your first expedition. Or not. Do as you wish. Click anywhere to complete the tutorial. Alright everyone! We're all done with the tutorial. You skip tutorial? This is where you will begin. We're going to go ahead and do another expedition, and we will spend some time looking at that build that we saw, and we'll cover a few other things that I think the game should probably cover a little more in depth in the next expedition. Let's go ahead and get started. Expeditions menu. All we have at this moment is the option to start. So, let's do so. Welcome, this path. Everything is wrong. But I remember. It looks like a completely different place. And it's empty again. Do my actions have any meaning? Like I have a choice. If I need to give up and cry to save the world, I am the worst savior. Let's do it. Alright, everyone. So, we just got done with the tutorial, and this is what the actual gameplay will be like. When you start, you will be in a random loop consisting of a path, any starting equipment that you have unlocked in the game, any starting supply that you have acquired or given yourself during the game, and this area filled with slimes. We're going to pause the game to cover a few things really quick. Over here are the items that your hero can equip, the slots that they have. Once you equip an item, you cannot unequip it. The only way to unequip it would be to equip a different item from your inventory in that slot. Items that you replace are lost. You discard them and you forget about them. You will not get them back again. Slots are currently locked to certain types of character classes. Our warrior has a weapon, a ring, a shield, and an armor slot. The others are unavailable for him. A rogue, for example, another class that we will have after some time, has 2 weapon slots, a armor slot, and a boot slot. This gauntlet and this belt slot are currently not available in the game. I believe they will probably be introduced later on when the developers add more content to it. Cards that we get are inside our deck, which we are unable to alter until we actually complete this first expedition. Or rather, not complete, but we at least make an attempt at doing another expedition. After which, we will have access to a deck of cards that we can manipulate in some way. We will get to that later. All your cards, you should spend some time reading about them over here, and I think we'll do that whenever we get one of these new cards. So we have a spider cocoon, a silky bastion of 8-legged hunters. Spawns a spider on an adjacent tile once a day. Days elapse when you see this bar up here. When that bar fills, 1 day has elapsed. Down here is the amount of progression required to unlock the boss for the current act. When we place one, let's go ahead and place the spider cocoon. Oh, actually, I guess we'll talk a little bit more about this card. Oh, now let's just place it. The legal areas we're allowed to place a card will show up highlighted in green, as we can see here. Let's go ahead and place this card here. Actually, we'll place it here. There we go. And if I now unpause time by hitting the right mouse button, we can see time go by. And we saw a spider leave the nest to join that area in the world. We got a ring. Counter, 10% chance. This could be a chance to talk about some of these statistics here, and I guess we'll talk about them a little bit whenever we unlock a new stat of some sort. Our hero's damage is 4 through 6. This is basic damage for the hero without any type of weapon whatsoever. We have a defense of 4. This is the amount of damage, physical damage, that we block from any enemy's attacks, reducing their damage by that amount. Counter is a percentage chance that our hero will immediately attack back a creature that attacked him in combat. We now have another tile, by the way, this mountain. It's like a rock, but really big. It gives you 5 extra hit points for each adjacent rock or mountain, but it itself will do nothing by itself. You'll note that we had a small orb fly out of that mountain and fly into our backpack. Placing them, it doesn't say so, but placing a mountain earns you 1 stone, or pebble. Small stones that still remember how the world used to look. When you hold them, you are able to vaguely remember it for a few seconds too. 10 pieces of pebbles, I guess that's what that is, form 1 preserved rock. Now, it's at this point I'm going to mention 1 or 2 more things before we get going again. The game has a problem in accurately describing things to you. It uses different terminology to mean different things and the same things. These are called preserved pebbles if I hover over this, but the text down below says 10 pieces of pebble formed 1 preserved rock, not 10 preserved pebbles. And other times, they'll be just referred to as pebbles. Things which say adjacent sometimes mean actually adjacent only in a, like this mountain, gives us plus 5 hit points for each adjacent rock or mountain. But adjacent in this case means directly to the sides of it, not diagonal. But other times, adjacent means diagonal. I wish this game had a better way of describing things to you, but I will be doing my best to accurately describe how the item is placed or what its uses are, rather than just relying on the game's descriptions to tell us this. During a battle with the enemy, you can hover over the enemy and see some very basic information about it. Its current hit points, its attack rate, how much damage it does, and any special attributes that creature has. You will be unable to look up those attributes during the actual gameplay though. The game does not tell you how much armor the creature has, or maybe if it does like some sort of special amount of special damage, like magic. Actually, it might tell you magic damage or something of the sort. But I really wish the game would tell you what the odds are that a creature would evade an attack, which we'll cover a little bit later, or how much armor a creature has. We just picked up some armor, by the way. Max hit points, 87, 2 damage to all, and 6% vampirism. Let's equip this. Our hit points have now been increased by 87, and we're doing 2 damage to all. Damage to all is the amount of extra damage which is applied to all the creatures that I believe are not the creature you are currently attacking. Creatures can spawn on top of other creatures. To my knowledge, the most amount of creatures you can have in a single battle that you fight at any one time are 5. It is up to 4 creatures normally, with a 5th reserved slot for certain special types of creatures. Hey, we just killed a spider. We got a cemetery, a place for the dead, and for some of the living occasionally. Spawns a skeleton every 3 days. Let's go ahead and spawn that. I don't know. Let's put it right there to start. A weapon. Does 4 to 6 damage. Now, we already do 4 through 6 damage, but this is going to add 4 to 6 more damage to us. And now that brings our damage to 8 through 12. Holy crap! A bunch of tiles! Let's look at these. A beacon. A worthless landmark in a world with no direction. 40% movement speed within its range, plus 20% attack speed for all units. So let's take a look. Let's watch us walk over to the slime and fight it again. And we got some more tiles as well. So not bad, right? Let's go ahead and deploy a beacon over here to help us out. Now notice these big area around the beacon. This is the area that the beacon will be able to affect. So if we deploy it here, we will get, it looks like, wow, nice, about 10 pieces of the road. We could put it over here instead and affect only 4. We could put it down here and affect only 3. We could put it over here and affect a bunch around that turn as well. Let's go ahead and put this beacon over here. And then let's watch us do the next fight. You'll see as well here that we're, oh wow, nice. We're fighting 2 creatures, not 1. And our damage to all did enough damage to kill that other slime as well. Nice. We did that battle so quickly that I wasn't able to show a few other things with how the fight works. I think we might have countered once as well. Okay, so let's deploy a few more of these things really quick. So we got another beacon. I think we'll put that down here to speed up our travel time around this path and the rate of fire at which we'll swing our weapon. We got a battlefield. It smells of blood and steel. Spawns a chest at the start of each loop. Enemies on adjacent tiles can become ghosts. Let's go ahead and deploy that. I don't know. Let's put it right here. We've also got a meadow. Earth covered with a thick carpet of grass. Nothing really interesting. Well, unless you're a cow, of course. Heals 2 hit points at the start of each day. I don't know. Let's put that over here. Hey, look at that. We got 2 things from that. We got a ration. A small amount of food. Surprisingly, it can still satisfy one hunger. These things are a real luxury now. 12 rations form a whole food supply. A noticeable change. This is enough to turn a caterpillar into a butterfly, a seed into a sprout, or a drop of water into steam. Will turn itself into something else too, if you collect enough of it. 20 changes form a complete metamorphosis. We also have another card in our hand, an Oblivion. A bit of the Lich's magic. Causes anything to be totally forgotten. Erases any established tiles. Erases monsters from the road. This is a bit rare to find, and we're going to actually hold on to this. I don't want to use it right now just to show you what it can do. Alright, well, let's continue. Watch, by the way, as we pass through the graveyard. Passing through a cemetery. Passing through a cemetery will give us 1 preserved pebble. It does not say this as we hover over this, and it did not say it to my knowledge on the card either. We'll double check the next time we get a cemetery. Okay, we have re-reached the campfire again. We could retreat and bring these tiny bit of resources back with us, but I think we'll stay and see what else we can do here. Now that we're paused, by the way, I'm going to do a few things and show you how I currently have configured the game. First, we're going to press this to enter 2 times speed. This affects the speed at which we travel around the path, and at which the day progresses, but nothing else. Basically, it's accelerating the standard time in the game, but not the time for battles. Basically, it doesn't matter, it's just how fast you want to watch your character walk around out here. Things like the beacons affect that as well, but the beacons actually are a gameplay change, as opposed to just, I want to see everything in the game, just faster, please. This actually well, okay, I'm done. Also note, by the way, we're healing 3 hit points per day, because we have a blooming meadow here, not just a normal one. Flowers get a feel for the world and bloom with pleasant smells. Heals 3 hit points at the start of each day. There's a few other things I currently have set to be enabled, and if you're going to play this game, I would recommend you probably set 1 or 2 of these things on as well. I automatically pause the game at the end of each loop. You can set exactly when you want the game to pause over here automatically for you. If it's your first time playing through the game, I would recommend that you probably pause the game all the time. When hovering over a unit, when hovering over an item, pausing after each battle. But I've beaten the game already, and I have over just about 100 hours sunk into it. So I'm pretty good at the game. Or at least I'm pretty good at understanding the game mechanics, and I think I could probably explain it without having to pause everything. That said, I will still right-click to put myself in planning mode whenever I get a new tile that can be placed. What else is there? Let's do a few more things really quick. We have now left the campfire. If I was to press the retreat button now, we could retreat. Oh, and I still keep all my resources. All right, well then let's stay. Let's get a little further from that campfire. So first off, that was a treasure chest that we just defeated. You'll note that we got some stable branches from that. Whenever you defeat a chest, you get a little bit of wood for that. We also got a shield. This is 2 better defense and 10% more vampirism, which I still haven't defined for you guys, which I was supposed to. Let's go ahead and equip this shield. It's better than our current shield in every way. Vampirism is a percentage of the damage you deal in combat from your attack, I believe. Not from damage to all. I think it affects counter. It doesn't affect retaliation. that you will be healed. So we should be healing 1 or 2 points of damage based on the damage that we currently deal. Now, note that we're away from the cozy camp. Notice that the guy running is no longer animated. We can still return to camp if we want, but we will lose 1 of our stable branches and 1 of our preserved pebbles. We can only keep 60% of all the resources that we find. We're going to stay. You keep 100% if you run from while you're over camp. You keep only 60% if you run out here. If you die in combat, you keep 30% of your stuff and are forced to retreat back to the camp that we were at earlier. And by the camp, what I'm talking about is not this spot. I'm talking about you have lost your attempt to defeat the boss, your loop ends, and you're put back at that one other screen we had seen a little while ago now. Let's go ahead and play another pet meadow. Well, that's interesting. We only got 1 ration this time. And our meadow didn't turn into a blooming meadow. Well, let's keep going. Maybe we'll figure out what causes that. Note that the slimes are taking more damage now, too. Notice that they're dealing more damage to us as well now. They're dealing 3 damage or so, rather than just 1 or 2. That's interesting. We got a beacon. Let's go ahead and deploy this beacon. Let's put that beacon here. We got another meadow. I don't know. Put that over here. We got another food ration. We got another rock. Let's put that near our mountain. There we go. And now this mountain is giving us 5 more hit points for this rock, and this rock is giving us 2 hit points itself and 2 more hit points for being next to the mountain. Deploying that rock also gave us a preserved pebble. Holy crap! Look at all the monsters! We got 4 of them. Good luck, hero. You can do it. I have faith in you. Got another one dead. Woo! Alright, we won. We defeated all 4 enemies there. That's the most enemies that will be in a tile, once again, unless you have deployed unless something is occurring in your loop based upon what you've played or something which materializes that will affect the number of creatures in that fight. I don't know. Let's go ahead and place a few more things randomly. So let's go ahead and put a rock, I don't know, let's put it over here near other rocks. That would make a lot of sense to do. We have another meadow. Let's put it over here. With the food ration. Still didn't turn into one of these blooming meadows. What the heck? Yes, I know. I know, everyone. I've beaten the game. Alright, well, this is interesting. Why did this one turn into a blooming meadow? The only thing we did differently with this one is we put it near a mountain. Oh, look at that! We put that one near a mountain, and it also gave us 1 noticeable change and a ration. And now this heals us 3 hit points. Interesting. So placing the blooming meadows near mountains, meadows near mountains, seems to turn them into blooming meadows. Another battlefield. Nice. I'm going to go ahead and do a thing you shouldn't do. Well, let's go ahead and do it. I don't know. We could use more treasure chests. Let's put this right here. Oh, that was interesting. We got a noticeable change. What's this? Blood path. Not only ghosts are created on the battlefields. Spawns a blood clot every 4 days. That was interesting. I wonder why that happened. Well, if we hover over the battlefield, we can see something interesting with the other battlefield. Their AoE, their area they affect, they're overlapping at that one place. Interesting. So this is a big theme with the game, and it is one of the reasons why I'm going to suggest that if you already like what you see, that you don't watch any more of this playlist. Yes, I know. That sucks for my viewership, but I would encourage you instead to stop and play it yourself. One of the things I greatly enjoyed about this game was discovering everything that had different interactions with each other, and finding a way to use it to help you. Every tile you place has a benefit and a penalty to what you do with it. Placing these 2 blood clots, these 2 battlefields so that we get a blood clot, will spawn a tougher enemy. But that enemy could give you decent rewards if you can handle fighting that enemy. Having certain enemies with other enemies could be a real hindrance, or a benefit depending upon what you're able to handle. It's all a really well thought out and crafted game, and I'm looking forward to other changes that the developers do to it. Let's continue. A skeleton. Well, that's interesting. We're not doing too much damage to it. We're doing 7 damage only. Skeletons have some amount of armor, or defense, I suppose is what I should call it. Because that's what it's actually called. It's pretty nasty, and it's difficult to kill skeletons. Let's keep playing. Well, we're going to keep playing for a while. Let's go ahead and hover over this weapon we picked up. A mace. It does significantly more damage than our current weapon. By the way, you might have noticed that we have a blue backgrounded shield and a yellow-black backgrounded suit of armor. There is rarity in this game. Gray, blue, yellow, orange. Now, I would be lying if I said that is the amount of power that they have. That affects the number of statistics they affect. Gray affects 1, blue affects 2, yellow affects 3, orange affects 4. Every time, for every increase in rank of rarity, the stats they increase are lowered slightly. This mace does 10 through 14 damage, 4 damage to all, and 1 through 2 regen per second. Now, it's a mace. I know that all maces have damage to all on them. If this was a blue level 3 mace, it might have done, say, 12 through 16 damage, and the damage to all might have been 5 or maybe 6. Our mace does less damage than a blue mace would be doing. It also, of the same level, it also does less damage to all, but it adds regen per second to us. This is still, however, an upgraded every way imaginable from our Grey Gladius. Let's equip it. Regen per second. This is the amount of hit points your character will regenerate naturally per second. We're playing on ×2, so you should see it double, I think. Or close enough to being doubled. Alright, we made it back to town. Back to the cozy camp. A comfortable place to stay. It's strange, but all monsters try to keep away from it. Heals 20% hit points upon entering. So every time we pass by the camp, we will heal 20% of our hit points again. I think we're strong enough we can do another loop. Let's go ahead and do so. And actually, as long as we're here, let's equip another one of these rings. Let's put on... let's give us more regen per second, bring us to 1.8. Hey, we got an orange suit of armor. 263 hit points. That's much better than our 87 max hit points. We lose damage to all, and we lose our vampirism, but we pick up 2 magic damage, 8% attack speed, and 7% counter. We've already covered counter. Attack speed, obviously, makes our hero swing a little bit faster, in this case 8%. Magic damage. Magic damage is a set amount of damage that your character will always do to the enemy if they hit that enemy and after the defense was applied. So if an enemy has, let's say, 8 points of defense, and actually let's look at our damage right now. We do 14 through 20. To my knowledge, the way magic damage works is that if an enemy had 10 armor, we would inflict 4 through 10 damage to it, and then we would increase our damage by another 2. So we would inflict 6 through 12 damage to that enemy. Well, we've seen that putting meadows next to rocks turns them into blooming meadows. What if we put a rock near meadows? Looks like that also converts them. So at least it looks like rocks and meadows combined will give us blooming meadows. Unfortunately, though, we're really kind of limiting the amount of benefit we can get from our rocks, because all the rocks want to be together, but the meadows also want to be near other things that aren't meadows. Holy crap, we got an orange ring. 2 damage to all, 2 defense, 4% attack speed, and 8% evasion. I think that's probably worth it more than 0.6 regen per second. We'll go ahead and equip that too. Let's go ahead and put this rock here. Right after this fight, I think we'll go ahead and try placing this meadow someplace else. What if we put it near a spider cocoon? Nice! Alright! So far, it's looking like whatever we put the meadow next to will turn into a blooming meadow. We've seen a grove before. We placed one. We don't know too much else about it, though. Let's go ahead and, I don't know. Let's place it to the spiders. Okay. Nothing really weird looked like it happened. We have another cemetery. We might as well place that as well. I don't know. Let's put it over here. Yes, I know. Remember, I've beaten the game. I've like 100 hours in this. I could begin playing the game immediately from the get-go, as if I more strategically, but I think this is a good way to show you guys the game, because you can begin placing things randomly, and as long as you know when to throw in the towel and call it quits, you will do well, which is what I'm currently doing. We're not going to be able to beat the boss so early in the game. I highly doubt anyone has beaten the boss their first run through, right after the tutorial. Post a link down below if I am wrong about that, but I really doubt anyone has. Now, we have a level 2 shield that we just picked up. We already have a level 2 shield, but I want to show you that this level 2 shield gives us 6 defense and 10 vampirism. This one would have given us 7 defense, because it's a gray shield. This level 2 shield would give us more, I think, more defense than any blue shield of the same level would give us. But this is a vampirism shield. All of the items you pick up in the game, by the way, they all have... Their blue version is all guaranteed to give you a certain thing. So their orange or yellow versions are also guaranteed to give you that particular thing that their blue version would give you. This shield, whenever you see this shield, this looking shield, this gives you vampirism. This armor, always, I think this is giving you... I think it's the magic damage. And this is, I think, giving us attack speed. Might be evasion, but I think it's attack speed. I don't actually know what the armors give me so much. Some of them I do. Oh my goodness, look at all this stuff. We get another mountain. Well, put that near that mountain. We gain another cocoon. I don't know. What do you guys think? Let's do a few things Tim you shouldn't do. Alright. Let's, I don't know. Let's put that there. We have a vampire mansion. Vampire mansion? What? Hungry eyes follow your every move through the holes in the roof. Adds vampires to battles on adjacent tiles. That sounds terrifying. Let's do it. Alright, so we'll go ahead and we'll do a really bad thing. Oh, it's not really bad. But a thing maybe I shouldn't do. And we'll add it there. Back off, human. A vampire. Where are your lands? If your farmers need help, I would be glad to offer it. No more lands. No more flock. Only hundreds of years of emptiness. And hundreds of years of hunger. Save yourself while you still can. I don't know how long I will be able to keep my head straight. What hundreds of years are you talking about? Your mind is easy to trick, but they can't trick my hunger. It demands its share. Every sip, every drop of blood will go to satiate it. I'm too weak, but you can help me, and I will set this crumbled world right. Right. I'm not doing this just for myself, but for everyone, in the name of good. So be grateful for my hard work, and just let me bleed you dry. Vampires. Undead. Has a soul. Attacks quickly. Does decent damage. Vampires often owned our lands. They kept the peace and helped our settlements to prosper. But this won't do at all. Now they're just pale shadows of their former selves, both physically and mentally. Apparently, the blood of other creatures can't sustain them. He wasn't joking about the hunger. Even the creatures that stand near him are imbued with the power to devour someone else's life. We picked up another shield, everyone. A level 4 shield, so we're probably going to equip it. I think this is the magic damage shield. Nope, attack speed shield. So we lose the vampirism we currently have, but we gain 12% attack speed. Let's go ahead and equip it. We have more mountains and rocks, and I can't put them near the other mountains and rocks because, well, I can't. So let's go ahead and start putting them over here. I think, now let me double check. We get 323 max hit points. And we still have 323 max hit points. We did not gain any because this is not considered adjacent. However, the vampire says it adds vampires to battles on adjacent tiles, and adjacent in the case of the vampire mansion means every single hex immediately around it, including diagonal. So, once again, sometimes the words in this game don't mean what they say, or they mean different things, even though they say the same thing. Well, I think we can go around again. Things are looking pretty good for us. And now we'll talk a little bit more about just gameplay in general. Every time you go around the loop, the enemies get a little stronger. They're higher level. The equipment you find is also higher level. The weapons you find will do more damage. The armor, the higher levels armor gives you more hit points. Shields block more damage, and rings generally have a better effect of some sort on them. We just picked up a level 4 blue ring. This is giving us regen per second and evasion. We would gain 1.8 regen per second. We would lose 2% evasion on this ring. We'd lose 2 defense and 2 damage to all. I think, though, we will equip it. This gives me a small chance to point out those arrows. This is telling you that, hey, your evasion, you currently have it through this item, and it's going to go down by 2% if you equip it. I kind of wish the game had a way to show me that I would be gaining regen per second on this ring as well, or something to that effect. Or that I didn't have any of it at all, or I don't know, something. But, well, oh well, let's equip it. I think we'll put this mountain here. Hey, we gained another ring, another shield. That shield is an interesting shield to find. That shield is a defense shield. It gives 13 defense, and then another 5 defense in this instance. This ring is a vampirism ring. It's giving us 7% vampirism and increases our evasion by 1%. We get to keep our regen per second, but it gets dropped to 0.6, and we regain 2 damage to all. You know what? Let's take it. See, have I count? Oh, okay. I haven't explained evasion. Evasion is your chance for when an enemy attacks you for it to miss. Otherwise, you will always be hit by the enemies unless they have some sort of attribute or effect which will cause them to miss you, or you have some sort of passive or static ability through leveling which will allow that creature to miss you. We currently cannot level. That is something that you unlock later on in the game. Alright, we have another mountain. We'll place that there. Hey, what the heck? What is that? A goblin camp. The sound of backstabbing can be heard from miles away. Spawns a goblin on an adjacent tile once a day. Appears for every 10 mountain or rock tiles. Interesting. So now we've learned that sometimes when we place certain things, other things will automatically spawn on us. This goblin camp is one such thing. Well, let's go ahead and put this meadow, I don't know, let's put it here by the beacon. Okay. So now I'll just flat out tell you. Whenever anything is placed next to a meadow, or a meadow is placed next to anything that isn't already a meadow, it will become a blooming meadow, giving you a one noticeable change and increasing the amount of hit points you heal at the start of the day. We are currently healing 21 hit points per day. Whenever the day progress bar fills, we will heal 21 hit points. Look at our hero go. Doesn't he look heroic? Notice that those 2 spiders evaded as well. Creatures also have these abilities that you have. Others will have vampirism, some have counter, some attack faster than others, and so on and so forth. Stop! Where do these goblins come from? I don't remember remembering you. We remembered ourselves! Now give us all you've got! You have no idea what's going on, right? Why don't you help me restore order in this world first, and then you can do anything you want? Goblins must rob! No other order in the world! Fair enough. Guess I don't have any valid objection there. Oh, wait, I do have one. How about... goblins? Nice! Dead goblin. Looks like that guy attacked really fast. He had another special passive ability, which I'll talk about now, I suppose. Oh, or in a few seconds. It's strange how these creatures appeared here on their own. Maybe it means everything is actually not so bad? That the world is trying to restore itself. Or that even the apocalypse isn't enough to get rid of some pests. Right now, only a handful of creatures have abilities on them. As you continue to go through the game and play the game on a higher axe, these creatures that we're currently fighting, all of them will begin gaining more abilities, making them tougher or easier in some cases. Now, we're going to take a look at these armors together. Let's look. We've got a level 4 armor. We gain more hit points. We gain more counter. And we gain regen per second. We lose attack speed and magic damage. This armor gives us 5 damage to all. And it increases our max hit points by 3 or 7. We lose magic damage, attack speed, and counter. Let's take the damage to all. And this is just giving us a massive 21 defense, which is fantastic. But I want my attack speed. Oh, something new. A treasury. The thick walls guard all kinds of riches from thieves and previous owners. Gives a random resource after placing anything on the adjacent tile. Can't be built adjacent to anything. Well, let's put it here. Nice, it gives an extra stone. Interesting. I saw him doing 30 damage to it, not just 20. Maybe I've been wrong whenever I've been playing the game, and damage to all actually is the damage to everything, including a single target. We also picked up a new weapon, a ritual sword. It gives us 10 through 16 damage and 4 magic damage. Magic damage is nice, but I like my current mace. We're gonna keep that at the moment. A new item as well, a road lantern. A small spot of light in this grim world. Decreases the maximum number of monsters on adjacent tiles. The effect of lanterns can stack. Let's hold on to it at the moment. Woo! We won that fight. Notice that there were 4 enemies there. Once again, remember that the vampires are added to the total amount of creatures that are present here on that upper right-hand slot. That slot is generally reserved for the 5th or the special creature that's present in the fight. We gained a magic damage shield. We gained more armor, but I don't think we care about most of this. The vampire also has 30% vampirism, and he passes a little bit of vampirism onto everyone else who's present in the fight as well. What we got up here, by the way? We have a stable wood, a log that somehow managed to keep its structure integrity despite the general chaos. And stable branches? Somehow the memory of these sticks wasn't lost. 12 pieces of a stick, not stable branches, form a beam of stable wood. It's the same thing. Stable metal. A chunk of metal saved from being devoured by the Lich. Its pieces stick together as if they're magnetized. Small pieces of metal that survive the Lich's curse. Sometimes, this is all that remains from armor or a sword that you haven't looked at for a while. Now, let's talk a little bit about why we want certain creatures here, because you'll know we're getting kind of beat up badly fighting these things this time around. Vampires drop decent loot. The same thing with skeletons. They can drop some decent stuff. And so, by having them here, that is increasing the amount of rewards we get, at the cost of making these battles more difficult. There's some special rewards that you can get if there are 5 or more enemies present when you're fighting. Yes, that can be more than 5, though that takes a bit of work to do. In any case, or I should say 5 or more enemies present or had been present at the battle, with the chance of these special things being given to you going up as you encounter more enemies present in a single battle. So that's another reason why you might consider dropping a vampire mansion to add to the difficulty of the fights. Now, I don't have a good feeling about going around again. it's going to be rather difficult. We got beat up pretty badly right there, and these creatures are going to be even more difficult, and our weapon's still level 3. But we're going to make one more run around. Before we get going on this time, though, I think we're going to do a handful of things. Oh, let's see what happens. We have 2 Oblivions. Those can help us if things get really bad for us in one particular area. Maybe we can get a better weapon from one of these 2 treasure chests as well. We also have a blood clot that we haven't seen before, so that'll be fun to watch, to look at. That's this thing. Let's first deploy this mountain here, shall we? What the heck? It's a mountain peak. A stone giant could support the sky itself if it weren't already gone. Gives you 120 hit points, plus 5 additional hit points for every adjacent mountain or rock tile. Spawns a harpy every 2 days. Interesting. So, 9 mountains gives us a mountain peak, assuming that they were all together. And this will spawn a new type of creature that we haven't seen before. Hey, what is this? It's a mimic! It's a living creature, has a lot of hit points, does good damage, and attacks kinda quickly. Whew. Thank goodness we won. Undead. Liquid has a soul, this blood clot. It's kind of beating us up, too. Woo! We won. No better weapons, though. So, I think we have to keep our current weapon. The damage to all is actually making us do 14 through 18 damage with 1 through 2 regen, so it's actually a decent weapon. Let's see if we can get something better from this treasure chest over here. A level 4 weapon. Damage 11 through 7, 4 magic damage, and 12% counter. But we lose 1.2 regen per second. That's kind of the only, like, healing we're getting at the moment. I think instead we'll equip this shield. It'll give us 13 defense and 1 more defense. It adds 2 damage to all and 7 magic damage. Another road lantern and another mountain. Let's put the mountain here. Now, I'm going to show you a little trick as well when it comes to your inventory. You'll note that we are getting inventory, and it's whenever any item goes into our inventory, it goes into a certain spot. Always in this slot here. And it pushes all of our inventory down in this direction. Once a piece of inventory is added here right now. Well, actually, let's fight those 2 spiders up there. Oh. Alright, let's fight this one hound up here. Alright, we didn't get any pieces of gear. I don't know if I can survive this battle waiting for me here in the cemetery. 2 goblins, a hound, and a spider. Oh, we didn't read about the grove, did we? A gentle rustle of leaves, a crack of a dry branch, and a feeling of being watched. Spawns a rat wolf every 2 days. The wolf can move to an adjacent tile, so this grove could populate these areas with rat wolves. Well, I don't know about these 3 spiders. I don't know if we'll be a match for them. Why don't we... Well, actually, it's 3 spiders also. But let me show you something we can do. We can deploy a road lantern here, which does nothing by itself to these 3 spiders, because you can have up to 4 creatures present on a tile. But now if I deploy another road lantern here, we have an area where they overlap. And that is now reducing the amount of spiders here by 2, meaning we'll only have to fight 2 spiders now. And over here, the rat wolf wasn't removed because only 3 enemies can appear over here. Why don't we go ahead and deploy another road lantern? Let's deploy it there. Spiders are very evadey, and they attack very quickly, but they don't have very many hit points, so they are kind of easily killed. If there's 1 goblin present on a tile, that goblin will always be a goblin leader. More than 1 goblin, and the others are normal goblins. They don't do as much damage, and I don't think they enrage in Act 1 on you. Got another grove. I guess I'll put that here. Another treasury. Okay, let's put that over on this side. And do I think we can handle this fight that's coming up? Well, we have a choice. Let's, I think we can probably handle a vampire and all these monsters. Let's give it a try. Notice the damage flying off of us. That's the total amount of damage that we took during that, during all the creatures' attacks that round. Whenever anything attacked us during that combat segment. You saw the number 45, for example, fly up. So that wasn't one creature hitting us. It had been a slightly lower number and then increased to that number. I think that's important to know because I've seen some people online think that's the amount of damage they're taking from each creature that's attacking them. Hey, look at that! When you surround the treasury with tiles, it gives you a bunch of random resources and 2 pieces of random loot. The loot will generally be of the loop level that you are currently on. So we got a level 5 suit of armor, 4 to 10 max hit points. We lose 3 damage to all, but we pick up 2 magic damage and 8% vampirism. Let's equip that. And this armor would give us 9% evasion and 1 more % of vampirism, but we lose a few max hit points, and we'd also lose our magic damage and damage to all. Let's keep equipped what we currently have. Another goblin camp spawned as well. That's going to be tricky. Now, if we don't get a better weapon from this vampire, or from what's coming up, this skeleton, or any of the fights, because these will all have vampires in them, I think we'll be throwing in the towel upon reaching the cozy camp. I don't think we'll have the hit points to go around again. We didn't meet the harpy, but we'll see her, I guess, in the future. I think we might want the 2% more vampirism. No, let's stick it out with what we've got. So we've seen a few things now, by the way. What happens if we overlap additional vampire mansions? Let's see if we can get ourselves killed. Well, additional vampire mansions don't do anything. They only add 1 vampire maximum to the battle. Hey, and we did get some better weapons, kind of. 17 through 25 damage Dirk, 14% evasion, and a 13 through 19 damage Scimitar with 12% attack speed. I think although it's less damage, I think we need the Scimitar. We are almost completely out now of regen per second, so we're relying on our vampirism to try to save us. I'm not sure actually if we can win this fight, so this is going to be really difficult for us. Actually, well, we do 9 magic damage, but why not show off another card, and then we'll head back to town when we reach the cozy camp. So I think we'll use this Oblivion. Oblivions can be used on anything whatsoever that you would like. Let's go ahead and use it here on the road. It'll clear any road tile there, and remove all monsters from that tile. You can also use it on maybe like this goblin camp, and it will purge the goblin camp from existence as well. Alright, I don't think we can do another loop. I think it will be too tough for us. So, we're going to toss in the towel. Let's return back to camp. We get to keep all this loot that we picked up. I can't believe it! Hey everybody! The boy has managed to return! Survivors! Does this mean I'm not alone anymore? Where'd you come from? Is there still a place without darkness? We don't know where we came from, or we can't remember. These people you see are only a small part of what's left of the group. I think. You're not sure? We're not sure. We reached that conclusion because of the abandoned luggage and leftover daily rations. With each day, new signs of presence of people that, as far as everyone here knows, have never even been with us. It's like we forgot them. You forgot. Exactly. It's like people disappear every day and we instantly forget they even existed. Almost as if we forgot the place we came from. And our families. And maybe even ourselves. My name is Yota. That's the part I still remember. Nobody else's memory is in much better shape. That's why I remember so little about myself. Everything is forgotten. But wait, you said that I'd managed to return? That means you remembered I was here. Yes, that's why it's so important to us. We saw you leave, but you were gone before we could approach you. Listen, we can't wander around in this emptiness anymore. There's a campfire and a few sleeping bags here. A real luxury in these dark times. What do you say? Oh, of course! I'd be very grateful if we could team up. I want to restore everything. I've begun to remember the world as it was before. But there's no point to it without other people. It's too lonely without them. Remembering the world? I don't understand what you're talking about. I'm too exhausted. But we'd be glad if you could help us. And we'd be glad to help you. Just don't ask us to go with you. I don't know how you managed to return, but for us, leaving the group is too dangerous. I will ask no such thing of you. For now, I just want to have a place to return to. A place where I can hear other people's voices. We weren't joking about helping you. Here are the few things that survived the cataclysm and don't vanish away, can't be forgotten. Take them. You might need them. And they gave us a few supplies, everyone. Now, I could go ahead and begin covering building, but I think we will wait to do that. Only because Yota will talk to us again when we return from the next expedition, and will hint that we should go ahead and begin using the resources we're finding to actually begin building things. So we'll do that in a little bit. There's a new thing we can do here, by the way, at the camp. We can look at our statistics. We can see how long we've been playing the game for, how many expeditions we went, how many times we've retreated to the camp, etc., all located here. We haven't even been killed yet. Amazing. We haven't lost any resources. We're a keeper, aren't we? Alright, well, let's go back to the expedition. Hey, what the heck is this? We got more information now. We're in Chapter 1. Enemies have 0 through 1 abilities. They start with -5 strength. So our first loop, the one that generally is only going to have green slimes on it, those green slimes are rather pitifully weak. Enemies grow +2% per loop. So on the third loop is when they have their normal strength. We can only have 10 types of one resource. What that is saying is that you see these big resources down here, this preserved rock, metamorphosis, food supply. When we're out on a mission, we can only have acquired 10 of those resources during that expedition. Your totals, when you get back here, can be, well, much higher. But when you're out there in the world, you can only gain 10 during Chapter 1. You'll also notice here really quick, looks like there's other buttons here, but we've forgotten them. They'll show up later as we continue to play. We're the Warrior class, a class that doesn't have any particular benefits or disadvantages, has the highest durability compared to other classes. In other words, you get the most base hit points, I believe. 2% damage for each second of the fight. The longer the fight goes on, the more damage the Warrior does. These lit up slots are the slots of equipment that we are allowed to equip. The others are not available for our Warrior. I should point out here, I wanted to kind of wait, but I guess we'll say it now. There is a card, we'll cover cards in a few seconds, that you'll be able to get later on called the Armory. This unlocks a extra slot for your character. For the Warrior, that's a helmet slot. For the Rogue, it's a necklace slot. And for the third class, the Necromancer, that is a shield slot. We also have this over here now. What is this? Let's click on this and find out. This is our deck building menu. This shows all the available cards that we are allowed to put in our deck. These are what will show up for us whenever we defeat certain enemies. This down here says that we have to have at least 7 cards total in our deck, and we can have at most 12 maximum. We currently have 11 cards. We could, and will, just click this Chrono Crystals to increase that amount up 1. If we took off all these cards, we would not be allowed to go on an expedition. The game will not let you do so, and it flashes red up here to let you know, hey Tim, you need to add more cards to your deck. There's some other things over here as well. Do you see these numbers? This says that you must have between 3 and 1 of these types of cards present in your deck. This says we must have between 2 and 2 of this type of card in our deck. This hints, by the way, that's a little slide out, that if we add the rock, we will also gain the ability to get the mountain card as well. You can see it hidden back there behind it. We have to have between 2 and 5 of these. We have to have between 2 and 2 of these. Right now, it's so early on in the game, we'll just add everything to the deck so I can talk about how they interact with each other, and you can see me go ahead and put them down on the game map. Alright, we're set. Let's go ahead and continue our adventure. You will be finding more and more cards as you continue to build special structures back at the campfire. These will give you more options for your heroes and allow you to begin picking and choosing what you think might be the best strategies to use when it comes to deploying certain things in certain places. Maybe you want to, maybe you don't want any goblins, in which case you will need to either, say, not place down 10 mountain tiles, or not take mountains at all in your deck, which is actually quite possible, especially depending upon other things that you decide to do to help your character out. So we just got our first chrono crystals. Crystals that are able to refract not only the light of the rising sun, but the passage of dawn itself. Doubles the effect of a day's passing on adjacent tiles. Every tile that is adjacent to the chrono crystals, for every 1 day that passes, 2 days are considered to have passed. The chrono crystals in particular are very, very good when combined with a blooming meadow. That blooming meadow is now healing 6 hit points per day, not 3, because it's doubling its effect. If placing that near a spider cocoon, that would double the effect of the spider cocoon. You'd get 2 spiders released per day, not 1. At the beginning of the game, any of the loot you find is generally going to be better than any of the other loot that you had. Like level 2 gear is almost always better than even level 1 gear. So you'll see me immediately deploying all of it. Let's go ahead and deploy the Grove. We get some more meadows as well, but I don't really have anything I want to put near them at the moment. Or rather, yeah, let's just hold on to them. We don't need to deploy every single card as soon as it enters our hand, but I like doing so. Or you'll see me tend to do so. Let's think here. Let's put that there. Creatures getting their shields. About to say a different word. Hey, we got a vampire mansion already as well. Why don't we put the vampire mansion? We have 2 row lanterns? Okay, let's put the vampire mansion here. And we will severely limit the amount of rat hounds we will have to fight in at least this spot. Let's see. We got another chrono crystal. Let's deploy that here. And stacking those meadows next to it. More crystals! Holy crystals! You know, I don't actually know this. If a crystal is placed next to a meadow that's already being benefited from a crystal, does the amount of time that gets passed double again? It does not. Now, note that every tile we're placing is increasing this bar down below. We didn't find any armor. We did find armor. Once that bar fills, the boss spawns. Another vampire mansion. And no easy place for me to put it. Let's hold on to it for a few more seconds. There we go. We'll put you there. Certain tiles have certain cards have certain rarities to them as well. Oblivions, for example, I think are amongst the hardest to get in the game. Actually, that's not true, but they're the hardest to find normally in your deck. There's a few creatures that can drop cards for you that you haven't even unlocked, but you'll only get to use them during that one particular loop, and those creatures are very difficult to spawn. We got a better shield. Let's equip that, giving us evasion and vampirism. We got a treasury. Let's put that over here. Anything else I should talk about? Oh, yeah! I haven't covered... Oh, this is going to be a bit nasty, Tim. Too late. We're gonna have to do this fight right now. All right. So there's a few more things I should cover about fighting the enemies. You might be able to see a small blue bar fill under creatures and ourselves. That's the length of time it's taking until we will swing. There's another bar that is under our character, that gray bar. That is our character's stamina. These things are not explained to you. Stamina is consumed whenever your character makes an attack, whenever your character evades, or whenever your character makes a counter attack, I believe. This is important to know because if your character runs out of stamina, his chance to evade is reduced by half. And I believe his attacks, he loses, I think, all his extra attack speed until it recovers again. I guess I'll give you guys some hints as well. A battlefield. I generally like playing battlefields at this. One battlefield will almost always go at the very start or the very end of a campfire. At the very start, it guarantees that my hero has a chance to find a better weapon as he goes out on the current loop. At the very end, it guarantees that there's nothing else in that tile except for the treasure chest. This way, at the very end of the loop, I'll get an item for basically that loop level. Remember that a treasure chest is a creature, effectively. It could also be a mimic, of course. What this means, though, is that if there's already 4 creatures there, you put your battlefield at this location, those treasure chests will spawn there. Alternatively, spawn treasure chests at corners. This gives them the option to spit creatures out in 2 spots. On that note, creatures when they spawn will choose. I think they like to choose the same spot other creatures are present on, but they don't have to do that. They can wander over to any other the free spots that are adjacent to that spot where you place the thing. Like if you put a spider egg, for example, here, spiders will maybe pour out into one of these 2 tiles. They seem to want to go to spots that where other spiders are, but they don't have to do that. Now, a heads up as well that when I play this game, I like making the map look pretty as opposed to making it efficient. I think that's a proper thing to say. So I'm not going to like drop all the mountains on the right-hand side of the board. I'm not going to put all the meadows in between like one of each mountain and so on and so forth. I don't play the game that way. I find that you don't have to play the game that way, and I find it funner not to. Again, I want the map to look pretty more than I want it to be efficient. So, and I find it prettier to, I don't know, kind of do it a little bit randomly, but still have an eye for what you're aiming for. I think I want my evasion and vampirism instead. Now, as you can already tell, based on the fact that we had some resources back at town, the game is going to be slowly, over time, giving us more and more resources. Those resources will be brought back to town, and you will begin building different structures with them. You'll see that when we get back to town at the end of this loop attempt. By loop attempt, I mean, I'm sorry, this expedition. There we go. Use the proper words, Tim. Artificial life, liquid. Interesting. Oh, there's at least one more thing I haven't been explaining to you guys, which we'll take a look at here. Different effects which are, well, affecting the battle that you're in will be displayed in the upper left right-hand corner there. You can hover over them to see what exactly it's trying to do. We don't have any graveyards deployed yet, so we don't really have to worry about magic damage too much. Let's wear this armor instead. We got another meadow. Let's put it down here to benefit from the Chrono Crystal. Now let's work on that mountain peak again. We want to see what a harpy says, assuming that they say anything at all. Not every creature you encounter will have something fun to say, or interesting to say, about the world that you are uncovering. A spider's nest. Let's give ourselves a lot of spiders over here. That's under the effect of the crystal. So when the day dawns, you'll see 2 spiders being released, not just 1. I think the crystals also affect the path, which we haven't even read about yet. So we'll read about the path in it right now. There's absolutely nothing here. Well, except slime. 5% chance of spawning a slime once a day. So I think this rolls twice to determine if a slime gets spawned, which is why around the crystals, over here for example, you saw that there's 1 slime all around the area that this crystal is affecting. I think if you put the crystal near the mountain peak, I think you'll also get a harpy a day, if you really want to fight harpies. Now, watch what happens as we get items added to our inventory. We should probably get at least 1 added from this fight. The vampire will probably drop 1. Notice that 2 of the items, or 1 of the items, fell off. And notice that it's adding scrap metal to our inventory instead. The items, as they leave your inventory, indeed are converted into scrap, or steel pieces, or stable metal, whatever the game decides it wants to call them this time around. You can, if there's an item that you're not really sure if you want it or not, or don't want it yet, you can go ahead and move items. You can resort your inventory to keep the things you want near the top of it. You can't do that with cards. This is important because cards actually also have a maximum amount of them that you are allowed to hold into your hand at one point. They too will be discarded, just like your inventory is, but they're converted into a different type of material, not scrap metal. We'll cover that when it actually begins to occur. Let's think. What else can we talk about, everyone? We better find things to talk about, because we'll be doing this for quite some time. The beginning portions of the game are all about exploring and trying out different things. You shouldn't be too afraid to fail, but if you can avoid it, you always want to avoid failing. Like, if you're not going to survive the trip back to camp, and it's obvious that you're not going to, it's best to, if there's a fight you haven't seen before, you want to see what it's like, by all means try it. But I would recommend that you cut your losses and flee a loop early once you get the hang of things, rather than tough it out and see if you can just barely make it back to the cozy camp. Better leave with something than almost nothing at all. Let's go ahead and spawn those goblins. And do I care about that spot? We'll fight the goblins once, and then I'll make up my mind if I'm going to get rid of them. The goblin leader can drop items which are slightly higher than your loop level, I think 1 higher, at the cost that you have to kill the goblins. And the goblins themselves are not fun to fight. We just got a broken sword. This is doing less damage, but it adds 2 magic damage, so it actually does... well, we do 2 damage to all, but it does add 1.8 regen. I think we will use this. We got our first cemetery. How much magic damage do we do? 2. I'm going to keep the cemetery away from the crystals, as I don't think we're able to handle skeletons quite yet. Looks like we'll be fighting the harpy, actually. It's flying up ahead of us on the path. We'll have to fight the harpy and a vampire. Interesting. We're at loop level 4. We're still using a level 2 shield. 7 defense. 11 defense. 4 attack speed. If I lose the only vampirism I have, and I lose the only evasion I have, no. We'll hold on to what we got. We get maybe some better armor. We lose our regen, we gain magic defense, so we gain magic and defense. We keep our regen, we lose hit points. We gain magic damage, we gain vampirism. I think we'll wear this. Place the mountain near the mountain. Even though this is not going to be a blooming meadow, it's still near the chrono crystal. We'll add it there. That's 4 hit points now, rather than 6, but still acceptable. We got another spider cocoon. Let's deploy it. We'll add even more spiders for us to fight. No! What do you mean, no? You want to save the world. You want to ask for help. Our answer is no. How did you... But why no? We see far away. We see deep inside. For a long time, there has been just emptiness instead of the sky. But it doesn't stop us from seeing. Your saving of the world is one-sided and naive. Each person sees their own way of saving the world. That's why no one will ever join you. Fine, I don't fully understand it, but tell me your version. What does to save the world mean to you? My progeny and my kin. For them to be strong and to live. It's a part of the cycle of life and death. It is life itself. It is the world. I will kill you and feed your remains to my starving younglings, and life will go on. How many lives does your blade give birth to by killing again and again? Only one. I don't want you or your children to die from starvation. Please, try to see reason. If my mission succeeds, harpies can have all the sky and all the hunting grounds they need. I can't feed my children with your beautiful words. It's time to say goodbye. I feel awful. By fixing one evil, I'm becoming the source of another. There's no home for harpies except in the highest mountains, but there's no food there. I can't imagine how they managed to survive if their mountains were cut from reality. That's so nightmarish, starving to death for millennia and being forgotten about. No one's even able to help you. God! It's so bleak. It's so bleak. Alright. Stack meadows over here. Alright, so we're gonna try this fight. That's a pretty tough fight, but I think we can handle it. Our meadow. That over here. Alright, here we go. Now, the goblin will enrage whenever anything else gets enraged. Here's a standard normal goblin. Look how awesome they look. I love their pointy noses. Hey, nice. We got another treasury. Let's put that one over here. Okay, that went better than I expected. So let's keep going. Notice that there are 4 spiders in the upper right-hand corner. Watch what happens when daylight arrives again. 2 magic damage, 12% counter. I have no counter, we'll be okay. I see another harpy flying by. Do we want another vampire mansion? Sure. Let's put a vampire mansion. Let's put it here. A treasure chest counts as a creature, so I suppose that means we should be fighting a vampire and a chest in the same spot. We will. That's totally what will happen. Let's add a cemetery. Oh, all those crystals. I don't think I want to add faster skeletons. How much magic damage do I do? 7? Add you there. Nice. Currently we're doing enough damage the vampire isn't full healing itself. I don't really want to lose more defense. Let's take even more magic damage. I'm going to try to go around one more loop if we can. I wouldn't mind getting the results of this treasury as well. When creatures get stronger, to my knowledge, they do more damage and they have more life. If they have defense or they have evade, I believe those statistics also increase. But to my knowledge, their attack speed does not go up. This is way too much damage not to take it. Let's wait just, yeah, let's use it. We full healed. I'm a little nervous, but I think we can go around again. Let's do one more loop. Another treasury. And a vampire breastplate. We get more hit points, we lose magic damage, we lose all of our some more of our regen per second, but we gain 3% vampirism, we gain 7% counter. I think our current armor's better. Actually, it's 100-something hit points. Let's take it. Treasury, add you there. Another spider cocoon. Let's add you here. We do want to fight many, many creatures. We want the chances of loot. We want more tiles. I think if I feel we can handle it, we will attempt to spawn the boss. We won't fight the boss this time around, but I'll get to explain a few things about the boss spawning to you. Let's show you this really quick as well. So we've seen that if we spawn the spider cocoon here, spiders will go into these two spots. What if we put one right by the camp? Nothing. The spider cocoon does not actually put a spider there. The same thing with an area that has 4 creatures in it. The spiders will instead go to a different spot. Oof, we're taking some big hits here. I think we're going to make... Well, let's wait a tiny bit longer. We'll clear out these spiders in the Harpy, and then we might wait till daylight. We might purge that group of goblins from the camp. We're missing these level 5 spiders a lot. We've lost half our hit points to just all those spiders. Okay, we're clearing that out. I don't want to fight that. And let's begin aiming towards getting this treasury, if I think we can. Okay. Can I don't think I can defeat these hounds and the vampire. I think we'll be a little too weak. Or, let's drop all of our regen per second, and we'll go full in on the vampirism. And we'll try that fight. We're healing 10 a swing whenever I'm able to hit them. We lose damage. We pick up... Nope. We gain defense. We lose... Nope. Alright. We only have 375 hit points. There's no way we're going to defeat this group. So we're going to purge them from existence. Regen, we desperately need that health per day. This isn't going to really help me in any place I could possibly place it. So, let's think. Oh, we have a new creature we're about to fight as well. We haven't seen this thing yet. All right, well, let's see what this is. A gargoyle. Thankfully, gargoyles attack very slowly. They also have defense, though, so they'll be a bit tricky to kill. We're going to place a cemetery right here, because I don't think we're going around again, and that will give us one more stone. What is this? A dark slime. Some creatures are very difficult to spawn. I want to say there's a 5% chance or like a 1% chance that whenever a slime spawns, it's a dark slime instead. Defense, damage to all, and evasion. No, I don't want to give what I've got up. Can I kill 2 rat hounds? Oh, sorry, rat wolves. I think I keep calling them rat hounds from playing yeah, rat wolves. From my playing all that wonderful Underrail. Get another rock. Place that there. Another battlefield. Let's put that there. I haven't hovered over what the battlefield does, actually, to some creatures. And I think a skeleton will count. 20% chance for all enemies that have a soul to be reborn as ghosts after being killed. And a skeleton has a soul, as a heads up. We have a harpy right in front of us. I think we'll be okay. Doing a loop with a weapon that is underleveled for it can be quite difficult. Okay, I'm gonna have to make a decision right now about these 2 spots. I don't think we can handle them. So we're going to Oblivion that away. And we'll hold off on the spiders. More damage. Let's get a little closer. Okay, we're gonna Oblivion those. I don't think we can handle 4 spiders. Yeah, those first early spiders were just too tough for us. Unfortunately, actually fortunately, we had enough cards to just give us one more big supply drop. And I do not think we can handle going around again. It's going to kill us. So, we're done. Let's retreat back to town. Or back to camp. Another success. You've returned, and we still remember you. Unbelievable. Yeah. It's good to be back. I'd hardly call it a success. My old memories of the world are gone. The path is empty again, and there's only darkness everywhere I look. Interesting. So technically you remember that there are things you have forgotten. We should find a way to use that. Let's talk about something more positive. We managed to tidy this place up. It's time for the next step. What do you have in mind? Expanding the camp. We have all sorts of craftsmen, from cooks to an alchemist, but they all need a place to work. But we can't use materials from around here. You turn away for a second from a branch or a stone you've just found and it's gone. I'm afraid only you can solve this problem. The materials that survive your trip always look suitable for building. But these are just stones and splinters. How can you build something with them? Curious, huh? I noticed it with the fire you've made. The things you obtain somehow infect everything similar with stability. Only in small amounts, but it's still something. Even a small branch is enough to make a wooden wall exist without constant supervision. Alright everyone, let's go into building. Now, it's at this point I'm going to do a bit of metagaming here with you guys. And if you've watched it this far, I have something to warn you about. We've seen that the placement of things in the game world on the path, they affect other things placed around them. It's similar here, but in a different way. Some of the places that you build here must be built next to other buildings of that same type, or rather, it's in the same tree. When we build the field kitchen, the refuge must be built next to it. When we build the herbalist hut, the farm does not need to go next to the herbalist hut. When we build the smithy, the smelter must go next to it. When you begin placing buildings in your camp, test out where you can build the other things first before you place them down. My first attempt at beating the game, after about 28 or 30 hours into it, I was being forced to destroy about 7 or 9 buildings in order to build other buildings, thanks to my awkward placement of them. This is especially true for the river. And what I'm going to do right now, before we go any further, is I'm going to show you one of my other slots. This is the place that I beat the game with. I think I went out two more loops at a lower act, just for fun. I want to draw your attention to the river, in particular, that you see here. This is where the river will be placed. You cannot place the river anywhere else. So keep that in mind when you build your town, if you decide to buy this game, and you get far enough in it. If you have built structures where the river needs to go, you will be forced to destroy those structures. You do get back some of the resources for destroying the building, but not everything. And if you upgraded that building, those are even more resources lost. The game doesn't tell you this, but it's important to know this is the case, unless you really feel like playing the game an extra 20 hours or so. Again, one of my biggest complaints for Loop Hero, as fun as I found it, and as addicting as it is it could really stand to have someone better write warnings, or better explain how things work in the game, or maybe at least show you when you hover over what you can build, where those things will end up going. Oh, hopefully you guys didn't see the boss there. Alright, so let's reselect the save slot. Because to my knowledge, if I select the river, I am not able to select the river, so I could not see the fact that it's going down in a different area. Alright, well, let's go ahead and start with the building. So first off, we have these right here. Survivor's Tent. A camp filled with exhausted people and their limited belongings. Can't be destroyed, but its inhabitants will gladly move to better housing if you build it. So these act as small walls that you can't get rid of until you begin building homes for these people. Homes are mud huts, and we won't be able to build mud huts until we build a supply depot. We can't build a supply depot until we build a gymnasium, and we can't build that until I think we build both a field kitchen and an herbalist hut. So let's get started. I think we'll start with the field kitchen. Now, what you guys can't see, but what I have right next to me, is a piece of paper where I have drawn down the town that I had just shown you, my high-level town, because I'm going to build things exactly the same in this town. Let's go ahead and get started. So, to build a building, as you can see here, it tells you the resources it requires. the field kitchen, a very important place for any camp. If your nose isn't lying, there's good food here. It costs us 3 wood, 2 stone, and 1 food supply to build it. It will increase the healing power of our campfire by 10%, so we heal 30% of our max hit points. It also unlocks a new card for us, the Blood Grove. We have to build this next to our campfire. Let's go ahead and place it here. I say as I stare at this, because if I make a mistake, there's no undoing it unless I destroy the structure. Do you know the difference between a good cook and a bad cook? The food made by a good cook is tastier. What? You were waiting for something more elaborate? Sometimes the truth is very simple. Look, I have a cauldron, a hearth, a couple of knives, a bucket of potatoes, 3 onions, and some ham. Nothing special. Everything is very simple. But give me a few minutes, and everyone in this camp will be running to my table, following the tasty smell of a good stew. Some buildings can be upgraded. You can see that from this screen by that orange icon. This says that this building can be upgraded and you don't have what it takes to upgrade it at the moment. If I click on this, there's some other information here which we can see. It doesn't tell us too much about it at the moment, but I'll explain everything I can. We can raise the building by pressing this button. It will show us what we will get back from doing so. Note that it is not everything, at least I don't think it's everything, that it costs us to build this structure. We can also upgrade it by clicking this. It shows that we are shy 1 of whatever the heck this is to upgrade it. We can also see that upgrading will add 8% more to the campfire's healing power, so 38% healed, and it adds something called a camp item slot, whatever the heck that is. So, they're not called camp item slots, they're called supply. And supply is something we have yet to unlock. We'll cover supply a little bit more in depth later, but this right here is showing us, it's giving us +1 available supply for tools, and the number of supply we're allowed to even carry with us when we go out on an adventure. We'll cover that again in the future. We have to build a certain building. I think we have to build the supply depot to unlock supply. Oh, we could actually build the gymnasium now if I wanted to. Unlocks the ability to gain special traits after killing monsters and expeditions, and unlocks a village card. Interesting. Do I have enough to build that and the herbalist hut? I might. Let's build both if I can. All right, so let's look at the herbalist hut next, not the gymnasium. Sorry, got distracted. The hands of the herbalist always remember how to mix dried herbs and brew healing potions. Potion heals 4% of max hit points. You can take up to 3 potions with you. 2 potions are refilled at the camp. Unlocks the swamp card. We're going to build that next to whatever this is. What is this again? The field kitchen. It's a miracle we could find some fertile soil, and we were able to save some seeds of precious healing herbs. But the real miracle is that all these healing poultices and bombs still have any effect. We've already lost many people because of the cataclysm. It would be nice not to lose more to disease. And these potions can also help you. Take a bottle or 2 on your trip, and your chances of getting back unharmed will be much higher. We have enough for the gymnasium, too. That's amazing. Alright, let's go ahead and build this. A place where you'll learn how to read, write, and be polite to your teacher. Physical training takes priority. Unlocks the ability to gain special traits after killing monsters and expeditions, and unlocks the village card. I'm going to build this above the potion hut. So that's how it works. Instead of remembering something, you can just learn it again. That's a nice trick. There's no ill intent. Without education, our world would be left to savages. You too could learn a few things, though. We could all get together and share our useful knowledge and skills. Nah, I already know all I need to. Leave learning to the kids. Now, your first lesson, learn to like learning. That would make life easier for both of us. Do we build anything else? Nope, we need supplies. Alright, I probably should cut it here, but why not do one more expedition? Game's super addicting after all. So first off, we unlock some more cards. There they are. A village. First, they'll feed you, then they'll make you work. Heals 15 plus 5 times loop hit points upon entering, and gives you a quest. A swamp. The stench is murderous. Or maybe it's the poison. Spawns a mosquito every 3 days. All healing effects are lethal here, except the potions. They are still on your side. And a blood grove. A living forest. Preys on wounded occupants of adjacent tiles. May spawn something dreadful from their remains. Can only be placed near a forest adjacent to the road. Its roots devour enemies that have less than 15 hit points left. Sorry, 15% hit points left. So, I think we'll try out these new cards in the next episode. I want to go one more round with everything that we currently have. And then we'll start mixing and matching cards and see if we can come up with a good deck for our warrior here for Act 1. Also note that we have this now. Heals 4% of hit points, plus 2 each loop, up to 3 potions. As you can see, we now have 2 of 3 potions. Every time we make it back to the campfire, we will pick up an extra 2, up to our max, which is 3. Your hero will drink potions automatically when their life falls below a certain level. That level is indicated by, see this little icon right here? When your health drops below that, they will then drink a potion. You have no control over when they drink it. You cannot tell them to drink it any earlier or later. They will do that right then. Alright, we've got a battlefield. Let's put that there. We'll put a treasury over here. Put a meadow right there. And I think we'll put another treasury. I've kind of messed it up. I should have put this treasury here. Let's make this a little, I don't know, a little more chaotic. Put you there. Later on in the game, you will have to make hard choices about the types of cards, obviously, that you want in your deck. We are seeing the effects of most of these cards, what they do here, but we haven't seen, and by that, I mean that we have discovered what the possibilities for the cards we are currently playing, with all the other cards, well, most other cards that we have already played. However, there are a few things that we have not yet quite fully learned. Some of these cards combo with other cards, which are possible in the deck, that we can add right now, but I did not do so. And importantly, certain cards will begin, the creatures become more powerful as you continue to play the game, or weaker, depending upon the creature. Sometimes you can use their passive abilities to your advantage in certain unique ways. You will have to make some hard decisions though. Treasuries, for example, they spawn gargoyles, which you may want to fight, as they can also drop treasure for you when you fight them. But they're tough opponents, and they get special passives later on. And while treasures give you a lot of special equipment, maybe you don't actually want that, and instead you want your battles being easier for your heroes so you can beat the boss instead, for example. These are choices you'll have to think about as you continue forward in the game. Where you place your tiles matters. If you want a beacon and you want its increased to your attack speed, do you want to risk giving that to the enemies as well? What if your hero doesn't really benefit from attack speed? Actually, all heroes benefit from attack speed. But if you didn't care about that, maybe you wouldn't want those in your deck. I also should add at this point that the game does become significantly tougher as you continue to play, as you continue to go up in acts. I have been watching various YouTubers play the game, and I feel I should warn you that you should not tackle harder acts until you are easily able to win the act you are on repeatedly. If you are unable to beat the boss, like over and over again, with a certain build or deck that you have and a hero and combination you have come up with, I would highly recommend against going up to the next act. When we kill the first boss, we will actually work on defeating him a few more times before I am ready to verse Act 2. And that will proceed onward to Act 3 and Act 4 as well. You really benefit from having more things unlocked in town, for having better cards, and just having more supply. We'll see supply later on in the game. I will almost always attempt 2 loops when I am playing Loop Hero. If I don't get a better weapon at the end of Loop 2, odds are I will throw in the towel if I've gotten badly beat up. I'd rather leave with almost nothing and just have the entire run reset than risk dying and losing the small handful of things I did earn. That would be a mistake to put it there, Tim. Do it. Show the viewers at home what happens. We have not yet seen the special effect of this. We haven't seen the enemies on adjacent tiles can become ghosts. So I'll try to see if we can get some ghosts from over here. Let's think. We got quite a few beacons. We should put these to good use. I like that spot. We're not giving the increased attack speed to what happens at the cemetery. What is this? This is a road lantern. Let's not place that on the ground yet. Sure. We'll increase our walking speed. Alright, so what else can we talk about? So, this is Loop Hero, obviously. By now you have seen it. If you don't like what you've seen, or you think this is not fancy enough, or how to describe it, there's not much here. Know that, again, as you continue upward in the acts, a good amount of fun for the game comes in finding a good deck that works for you with the hero and strategies that you're trying to come up with, and actually putting it to good use. It can be, I find it's a lot of fun to have created a really powerful deck of cards and putting it to great use in your attempt to defeat the boss and win. When I defeated the final boss, I was thrilled that I did my very first attempt, that I had spent enough time understanding the creatures, reading up on them and what abilities they would have when I reached the next act. I was so happy that I had done it, that all that planning, the careful planning and the placement of all the tiles exactly where I wanted them in the actual mission itself. It's such a treat. I really liked this game. I say light as if it's past tense, only because I got myself unaddicted to Loop Hero, and well, it's a lot of fun. But on that same note, it is horrifically addicting. And if we don't get a better weapon, we will be throwing in the towel on this run. In fact, I don't think we're going to find one. Let's begin getting ready to give up. We did get an Oblivion. That will really significantly help. Maybe, Tim, you can stick it out just a little longer. Let's see where that treasure chest spawns. The other save slot that you saw me have, I have yet to die on that slot. I played it for 7 hours. I beat the first boss as well, and haven't died yet. That takes quite a bit of work, actually. I'm surprised, but I've managed it. I'm gonna hope that I don't die at all here on this playlist, but all it takes is 1 or 2 things going really bad on you very quickly, and then before you know it, you are in fact dead. Let's do that, and we'll lower the amount of spiders that we'll fight. Okay, we still only have rank 1 weapons, but we're only going to get a treasure chest up ahead of us. And this treasure chest is spawning in a nice spot, so let's put the vampire mansion here, because that will spawn the vampire along with the chest. Our hero should attack the chest first, and the vampire first, and we don't have to worry about it being a mimic right away. So, a chest can be a mimic or a chest, just a standard chest, and if it's a mimic, it will attack you if it took any damage. So if you have attack all, and you attack any of the creatures that's on the treasure chest, that will wake up the mimic that will begin defending itself. And that magic damage we got from that shield will make up for the level 1 weapon we currently have. Still no better weapon. Okay. More defense. We lose magic damage. We gain even more defense. No, I like my current shield better. We lose vampirism. We gain regen per second. We gain a tiny bit of hit points. This is better. I don't want that there. Let's just not have goblins to worry about at the moment. All this magic damage, yep, will help me deal with the skeleton, even though we're still only using a level 1 weapon. There we go. A spear. Spears add counter to your attacks. This is better in every way than our level 1 Gladius, though, so equipped it is. Now, there's something new here, by the way. Maybe you guys noticed it. I completely forgot. We have this other bar here beneath our health. This is our experience points. We're going to see ourselves level up this time, actually. And I've got, arguably, a better weapon. We lose 6% vampirism and our 12% counter. Let's not equip it yet. I'm feeling a little brave, so I think we'll spawn this vampire mansion here. We have another meadow. We got another chrono crystal. Let's put that there. We'll spawn even more spiders. We should be able to handle groups of 3 spiders without too much issue. You got another spider. Sure, we'll put you there. We have leveled, everyone. Our very first level. There's no reason to wait, but I'm going to. Okay, so you get 3 random traits to select from whenever you level up. I believe the traits that you have access to are limited, and you can unlock other traits as you go forward. I think that's the way it works, but I'm not 100% sure. I'm mostly sure. Right now, we have Card Sharp. 10% chance to keep the card for playing its tile. Doesn't work for gold cards. We don't have any gold cards unlocked yet, so gold cards are one-time use only cards. They do not count toward your deck total when creating your deck, and you only get, well, 99.9% of the time you will only ever have one of them, the one you start the game with. You can get another one, another gold card, but you have to kill a very specific creature for it, and it's only a random chance that you'll get one of the gold cards. And again, even greater random chance it'll be the same card you had already. So this would let us deploy like a meadow, and we might get to keep the meadow. It would let us deploy a Oblivion, and we might get to keep the Oblivion as well. We can take Shield Master, a 10% chance upon hitting to stun the target for 1 second, or Second Thoughts. We can try getting 3 different traits instead. Let's take Shield Master. Oh, now we need 320 experience points to get the next level. A Mace, a level 4 Mace. Does more damage, does damage to all, and counter. I like my current weapon better. Let's see. Let's deploy the meadow over there. We'll get a rock. Deploy that and get all that delicious treasure. We get another shield. Attack speed damage to all. I don't want any attack all if I can help it, so I'm not going to take that. Even more vampirism, but we lose 50 max hit points, and we lose some regen per second. That's the only regen per second we have. I don't really care about that very much. Do I want to lose 50 max hit points for 6% more vampirism? I think I do. Now, I was talking briefly about cards and their placement and stuff of that sort. I've watched a few YouTubers play this game, and I am how to go about this. Sometimes you do not want to do certain things, or you want to wait until a certain time to do something. I'm being a bit awkward about this. For example, let's go ahead and finish it. So there's our mountain peak. Later on in the game, harpies are one of the toughest enemies you could ever hope to fight, and they have buffs which increase the durability of all the enemies that you are fighting against. At Act 4, when I saw what the harpies were doing, when I read what their passives did, I decided that it would probably be in my best interest to never, ever create the mountain peak in Chapter 4. And that will probably be my strategy when we eventually reach Chapter 4 with this hero, assuming that we tough out the game and play it for that long. Let's think. I lose my regen per second. I lose some of my counter. I gain everything else. Let's take this. It works that way with other things as well. This is one of the things I really like about Loop Hero. You have to be really careful with where you are placing things. And give it a good amount of thought, especially later on in the game. And you might have to change your battle plan. If things are going a certain way and things aren't working out for you, you might have to scrap what you originally wanted to play or where you wanted to play it and change your mind to do other things with it instead. So I have generally never done this. Maybe I did it once before, but I don't remember. I'm going to see if I spawn a harpy every day if I place the chrono crystal there. So we just got one. So let's see what happens the next day. Another aspect of the game I wish that they had spent a little more time on was telling me what creatures drop when I hover over them, or what the percentage chances are that they drop certain things. It'd be nice to know, like, if a certain creature is worth trying to avoid or fighting. Do I lose 13% vampirism, Tim, to gain 9 magic damage? I think I do. Ooh, actually, that was a mistake. Possibly. We're not healing anywhere near as much anymore. So, another thing that comes to mind about the game. You have to balance your ability to take on the boss with what generally will be your ability to sustain yourself in the loops. Healing and vampirism, from my experience, these are not things you will overly benefit from much when fighting the boss itself. Attack speed, magic damage, maybe sometimes damage to all of these are much more important when you actually are squaring off against them. Let's see. It would be nice if I could spawn the boss once for us. And by that, I mean, am I able to get my character to such a place where he survives? I feel like he can survive long enough to spawn the boss. Ooh, nice, 26. And we stunned them with that hit. Very nice. for cemetery. We're doing 15 magic damage. That's really nice. Let's see if we can keep that up. Should I keep that up? Let's see if we can keep... we will attempt to spawn more enemies to get... as long as we have lots of magic damage, we can circumvent a lot of the defense that the skeletons have. I'll even risk throwing in a vampire mansion for coming up before it's coming up here. So even more magic damage, but I'm losing 6% more vampirism. We're going down to 8%. That's the only healing I've got besides my potions and the hit points per day. No, I can't drop that much down. Oh, 12% attack speed and 7 magic damage. That would be amazing for the boss. But we're not spawning him this or probably next loop either. A level 3 vampirism sword, the rapier. Attack speed, counter, and vampirism. No, I'm not gonna fall. As a rule, I do not lower my damage unless I'm desperate for more healing. But I'm not desperate. Well, if I take this, we could then use this ring. So we go from 12 to 18 to 10 to 14 damage. We keep our vampirism the same. Oh, no. No, Tim. No. That's not gonna work. Don't do that. This is the only healing that you have at the moment. I just mentioned how nice I like magic damage. It lets us see with skeletons, so I don't really want to lose that either if I can help it. So far, we also haven't had to use a potion, so we're lasting, which is nice. Oh, wow, nice. Okay, we could probably go around one more time at least. Do I want to start spawning groves? Sure. We won't be fighting the boss if it spawns, not the first time. So I want to talk about it for a little bit. We gain defense, we lose all our magic, we lose half our magic damage, we pick up defense, we pick up attack speed. Nope. Once I tend to make up my mind about a stat I want, I tend not to change it. Oh, hey! Alright, so we immediately killed a ghost, and we got another ghost. A ghost of a ghost. So, ghosts have souls. So when they die, they could spawn a ghost. And that ghost could be a ghost of a ghost. Ghost of a ghost drop better loot and cards than the ghost drops. And the ghost and ghost of a ghost, they count as more creatures fighting you in that fight. The ghost of a ghost also has a soul. And if you kill it, you get something called I think it's called a prime matter. And I don't think that has a soul, because if you kill that, I don't think you get another one of those. And that creature has the chance to drop gold cards or cards that you have not unlocked yet. We get another battlefield. Let's add it over here. To all those spiders. Now, I need to be careful deploying more rocks, because we might get goblins. I don't think I want to fight goblins. I will fight, however, more spiders. Let's get another meadow. Oh, we leveled. We should always level when we can. So, we got Card Sharp again. We gain a Buckler. Every counterattack heals us for 1.5 times loop hit points. So this would heal us, what is that? 7 hit points whenever we counterattacked. Our counter is only 12% though, so this is a really bad chance to heal. Let's see what we can get if I take Second Thoughts. That's the only time Second Thoughts will show up, by the way. Survivalist. If our hit points drop below 30%, your regeneration is doubled. We have no regeneration, so that doesn't help us at all. Article of Protection. After receiving this effect, and after every loop, the hero receives a bar of Phantom Protection that equals 65% of his max hit points. All damage to it is dealt ignoring defense. Let's take that. And now we have the shield around us, which will absorb the amount of damage it sustains until it's all finally gone. That will really help us out with some of these battles that we're walking into at the moment. The first battles that we're encountering in the loop. But as you can see, we're about to run out of that shield. Alright, and that's it. Our shield is now gone. Alright, I want to take a look at some of these items I've been picking up. Stop! But I haven't equipped yet. Okay. 18 through 26. 5 damage to all. We lose 6% vampirism. 14 through 22 damage. We lose counter. But this is... I think we'll probably equip this sword, because I really want that regen per second. I'm losing vampirism for it, though. And... that will do. We have vampires in all these fights, Tim. Let's lower the number of spiders here. Okay, I think between the two of those, we might be able to survive another loop. We got Vampirism Shield. Let's take a look at that together. 13 defense, so that's 5 more defense. 7 more defense, because it has some defense. 8% Vampirism, but I'm losing 7 magic damage, which I didn't want to do. So if I put this on, however, we could put on this ring to make up for it. We would basically be keeping our 8% Vampirism. And our 8% Evasion. Let's do it. And then we put on this ring. So, overall, we've picked up some defense and kept everything else mostly the same. I'm still not sure I want another rock. Just put that there. Let's deploy it. Let's put a rock down. We did get a goblin camp. So now we might as well deploy a few more rocks. A vampire ring. Another ghost. Killed the ghost. Counter and 12% vampirism. That would give us 20% vampirism, but I don't think we'll probably use it. Let's make it look like the mountains are crumbling out in this direction. That it's being degraded to hills. And we'll put metal here. A small ravine or valley going between those two mountain ranges over there. Ooh, look at all the special effects happening here. Come on, treasure chest, give me something good. Do I want to lose 12% attack speed to gain a little more magic damage and a little more regen per second? I think I'll be okay with that. I'm going to want more magic damage because we're fighting 2 skeletons here. The skeletons are getting more and more defense and more hit points. They really hurt when they hit. When they hit. You said the right words, Tim. Ghost of a ghost! Come on, Prime Matter! No luck. Okay. 431 hit points, counter, and vampirism, but I lose magic damage, which I'm not willing to do. I have another road lantern, but I have no place in particular this should go. I can't really affect the location of something that has a lot of creatures. Oh, I can, actually. We can put it here to drop these spiders down to 2, but I think we'll be fine with the spiders. It's the goblins, actually, I'll be worried about, now I think about it. Let's make sure we only get 2 goblins and 2 skeletons. We still have not used any of our potions yet, which means that so far, my choices have been okay enough. We haven't had to worry about healing using them yet. Once I begin using those, especially early on, I begin getting very worried, and I'm going to be pausing at the end of each battle, terrified that I won't be able to actually handle it. Let's make sure actually we get only one goblin, because I really don't like goblins. Goblins are a fantastic enemy to fight if you think you can handle them. If we had the armory, the warrior becomes actually really good at fighting them because of the helmet slot, which does things that I'll hold off on saying until we actually see it in action. But it's a nice addition to the warrior. Another goblin camp, Tim. I can't believe I spawned 10 more mountains that quickly. Oh, hey, we're gonna get the boss. We're gonna get the boss. Okay, let's do it. Let's spawn him. So let's put you there. What the heck just happened? Well, it's the boss spawn incursion. Radiates with a powerful energy that devours space and time itself. It's time to face the destiny of this world. What are these? Lich's Palace. It was here that the sorcerer Omicron conducted his futile experiments in an attempt to stop the heat death of the universe. Every palace increases Lich's hit points and damage by 5%. This means that the boss, who now we are heavily suspecting is the Lich, is getting a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 35% increased damage and hit points. We cannot beat the Lich with that many palaces. So something about the boss I should also point out, which might be obvious to you, but might not be. The boss benefits from the loop counter as well. He starts at minus 5% in the case of Act 1, and he goes up 2% strength every single loop. The longer you wait to fight the boss, the more hit points and tougher he will be. So keep this in mind. It's a very delicate balancing act between looking for the best setup you can with the tiles you've placed, the equipment you're looking for, along with the levels that you've gained. You want to have a good balance of all of it. Or rather, I'm sorry, I'm saying the wrong words. If you're aiming for something particular, you might have to consider whether or not it's worth trying to keep doing more loops, aiming for it, or giving up and taking on the boss early instead, because this way he'll be a little weaker, or a lot weaker, or just throwing the towel and saying, we're not doing it this run, we're fleeing when we reach the boss, which is what I plan on doing once I get a chance to do that. Because we will not be fighting the boss with the build we've currently got. 3 defense, 2 damage to all. We gain lots of evasion, we lose our only vampirism. I think we keep what we got. Since we're fleeing, we'll go ahead and put this here as well. There's no reason now not for us to go ballistic and try to place as many tiles as possible to gain as many resources as possible, because I do not intend on sticking around to fight the boss. Hopefully, we will be able to reach the campsite. Oh, I thought I heard... Oh my goodness, there's so many tough enemies here. We drank our first potion. Every potion we drink is a potion we don't have for the boss as well, so this is making us even weaker. We have one skeleton ahead of us that I need to make sure I can kill, so we're not gonna... But afterwards, I'll swap on this armor instead, because I'll no longer care about the magic damage. Nice, we stunned it again! Alright, so let's put this on to give me more max hit points and some more defense so I take less damage. You cannot, as you have seen by now, you cannot tell your hero what to attack either. So Your force is to hope he attacks whatever it is you want him to attack. Alright. There's no reason to do, by the way, what you just saw me do. You actually should hold on to all your tiles, but there's nothing else for me to spend it on. Oh, an Oblivion. That would have come in handy earlier. Actually, technically it comes in handy now. Ah, so close. So close. 4 more experience points and we could have leveled up again. Oblivions can be used on those palaces that the boss spawned to get rid of them. So it might behoove you to hold on to an Oblivion or two. And this way you can get rid of these if they spawn. Alright. But we're not staying. There's no way we're killing the boss. Not with what we've got. I think it would be... No, it wouldn't even be close. We're hurt. We do the fight hurt. We do the fight with only 2 potions. And when we fight the boss, I'll talk about the boss. Let's go ahead and retreat. Alright, so I think we'll probably stop here, everyone. Let's go ahead and build a building or 2 first, though, before we go. So, we can build the smithy. Why not go ahead and do that? And we're going to build the smithy to the north of the campfire. Put the forge here. As I stare at my map to make sure everything's correct. Yep, I think so, Tim. This is the gym? Yep. By the anvil of the 7 seas! It's a small forge! Yo-ho-ho! You have no idea how I've missed the heat of a furnace and the smell of metal. We'll have some good tools now, you can be sure of it, lad. You'll even be able to use something during those trips of yours. You're quite enthusiastic. Something tells me you're not a stranger to seamanship. Shiver me hammers! How did you know? It doesn't matter, though. You're right, don't worry. I'll prove to you that these hands can hold a hammer as good as they can hold a helm in a storm. And for a dozen days in a row if needed. The smithy lets us start the expedition with basic warrior's gear. And it unlocks the ability for us to craft tools for the camp if the supply depot is built. Note that if we unlock the rogue as a class, that we do not start with rogue's gear. We will still start with the warrior's gear. Same thing with the necromancer. Is there anything else I can build before we call it quits? Nope. We don't have enough materials to build anything else, so that will do. Alright, everyone. I hope you liked the first one for a loop hero. When we come back, we'll do more loops. I'll see you then. Thanks for watching, everyone.